Welcome to this little experiment of mine. So, with Thrones of Decay dropping, and obviously quite a few factions getting lots of powerful buffs, and the Empire being known for being a bit of a difficult start at the moment, I wanted to see if, from turn 1, a fully united Empire can actually survive against all of these threats. So, the way that I've got this working is that we have actually got most of the mainland Empire confederated under Reichland. There are a few exceptions, for example the Brass Keep. This is remaining under the control of Festus. Over here, obviously, Lorien Forest is remaining under the control of the Wood Elves, but I have transferred, like, Wrecker Point, Black Pit back. The original factions are going to stay in here, because I can't be bothered to get rid of them, and I also think it's a nice idea to have some sort of threats internally. Just because, obviously, all the elect accounts have remained, so I've had to transfer a bit of gold to the Empire, just so they don't suffer attrition from turn 1. The Griffin Wood under control of Dreicher is also going to stay here. As for Sylvania, I was a bit conflicted, because I know Vlad can be an absolute powerhouse in the early game, but for now I think it's alright to leave him with it. I don't see any reason not to. So, coming out of the Empire, they do actually still have their little expeditions. So, we've got Belfast over here, with full control of the broken lands of Tianli, and then all the way down in the desert, Volkmar the Grim. Where is he now? I always forget where he is meant to be. Yep, so over here we have Volkmar the Grim. He is still in control of Suddenburg, but that is about it. And then obviously, over in Lustria, Marcus Wolfhart's expedition. Okay. Now, the way I've been able to get this working is that I am over here playing as a minor Beastman faction that the Empire would never come across. Meanwhile, I remember, from around turn 100 to turn 150, I have every single end time scenario enabled. So that's going to be the big challenge for the Empire. Can they survive all of that? So, with that in mind, let's begin. And I'm probably going to skip the first 5 turns, unless something major happens. Okay, so it is turn 3, but I just thought I'd jump here so we can spectate this. It seems that Kazrak has obviously taken over the Black Pit, but the Empire are rallying quite a few forces to crush him. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 armies that look like they're all coming either for him or to take back the Black Pit. Army-wise, obviously we've got Boris Todbringer and Karl Franz in the middle of them. Neither of the armies look like they've done any recruitment. Is anyone actually doing any recruitment currently in the Empire, or can they not afford it? Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, so they're doing a lot of, like, building, probably trying to get the... Yep, definitely trying to get their economy up as early as they can. If we have a look over... Where is... Elsbeth Don Draken. Obviously, very prepared to take over there. But apart from that, there's not really much going on. Festus, building up his forces in the Black Keep, doesn't seem to have gone to war with Reichland yet. Obviously we've got Mordheim. Vlad is doing Vlad stuff, and as for the expeditions, there's not really much to talk about. Yeah, they're just building up their home regions, it looks like. Ooh, Suddenburg's not really doing anything. Okay, what about Templicara? Same thing. Right, we'll skip the next 2 turns. Okay, so it's turn 5, and the War Herd of the One Eye has been destroyed. It would seem that the multiple army alliance of the Empire was able to crush him and retake the Black Pit. But they did suffer quite a few casualties. Karl Franz has lost most of his army, and Boris has lost literally everything but himself. But as for the rest of the Empire, it's looking pretty decent. There's still a few of these, like, small armies roaming around. Like, we've got Grotzlik here, and Festus has moved down towards Hergig. I do believe that Festus is most likely, within the next couple of turns, going to declare war on the Empire and attack Hergig. But it wouldn't be the wisest idea, considering, you know, There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legendary lords. Well, 5 armies over here. A few more over there. Dreischer has expanded down into more time. That was to be expected. Vlad is obviously at war with Tempelhof. Pretty much wiped them out. Moot's still under Empire control. Vlad hasn't really gone to war with them yet. Is Vlad at war with Karakhodrin? No. And I think the situation with the colonies is pretty much the same. Yeah. None of them are really expanding, going to war with any of the other factions. Looks like they're just sort of sitting tight, just waiting. Which makes sense. This is this is the thing that you sort of think will happen when you confederate all the factions into one. All their starting wars are removed, so they don't automatically start a war with their neighbours. There's not really that incentive for them to push out and expand that the AI and players normally have. Let's skip another 5 turns and see if that changes anything. Here we are on turn 10, and the AI is making some interesting decisions. Unsurprisingly, Festus has actually declared war on the Empire. He initially attacked Hergig and has actually sacked it. They don't seem to be repairing it though, for whatever reason. He has then taken Krudenwald and, crucially, taken control of Middenheim. Anyone who's really played an Empire campaign knows that Festus can be a bit of a continuous pain for Reichland, because he's really difficult to pin down and kill. And the Brass Keep, if you're not prepared, can be quite difficult to take down. The AI doesn't seem to really know what it's doing, and it's also pulling their colonies back. Marcus has pretty much completely abandoned the Temple of Kara. He's just building some gold. I believe, basically, the problem is the Empire, it has too many armies because of the supply line mechanic. I don't know if that affects the AI, but it seems quite clear they have too many armies to financially support currently. So probably the best thing to happen for them right now would be to lose some of these like minor elector counts in battle, because they all have like quite similar shit stacks where there's not really much in them. And obviously, Karl Franz is still yet to rebuild his forces. Okay, this guy's recruiting a bit. Down south in the desert, unsurprisingly, not much is going on in Suttenberg. I don't think anything has been built whatsoever, because Volkmar has just completely abandoned it, and he is heading on north to attack Festus. For whatever reason, the AI has decided that the 2 furthest away legendary lords are the best for this job. Most likely to do with the fact they're the only ones that actually have complete armies. Over in the Broken Lands, though, we got a bit different. So Balthasar Gelt is sitting tight in the Temple of Eternal Wings, but they are now at war with the Burning Wind nomads. So really, he should be coming down and crushing them, which looks like Zhao Ming is probably going to do. He's probably going to come here, crush this, go on down here. But I just want to have a quick look at the actual sort of like geopolitical situation for the Empire currently. Here we go. So I can actually open the Empire page. Let's have a look. So obviously that's me. That's just on there to prevent stuff. But they're currently at war with the Burning Wind Nomads, the Fuchsia Knights, the Pirates of Sartosa, and Safari. But they are trading with Karak Ziflin, which is quite good. Got a decent amount of trading resources, bit of a nice variety, but I don't think their income is doing very good at the moment. I don't think I can see that, can I? They are strength rank 1 currently, with 44 settlements under their command. Anyway, I will skip another 10 turns probably, unless anything interesting happens. I didn't even make it 4 turns before something big happened. So, in the exact same turn, we had 2 undead factions, the Barrow Legion, and on the opposite side, Sylvania, declare war on the Empire at the same time. This isn't exactly great for them, because the Barrow Legion, Heinrich Kemmler, can be quite strong. He's got Krell, obviously. He's got 2 Necromancers in his army. I imagine most of this is chaff. But because they control Grunkzint, they're going to be able to come on down and just raid Marienburg and pretty much just have free reign of this part of the Empire. There's not really much they can do to crush them. On this flank, Vlad has taken out Dreischer completely, seizing Wartime and the Griffin Wood. Obviously, Vlad has Isabella, has a vampire in his army. Pretty decent army. He will have to deal with these ogre camp here that I don't know who's declared war on who, but yeah, they're at war with each other. It's not exactly the best situation, and it's cut these two Empire settlements off pretty much from the rest of the core Empire. Now, really, it would be in Vlad's best interest to just crush Wolfram here and take Eschen in the process. But the AI doesn't always make the best decisions, so it might come this way. Vlad currently has 2 armies and 1 in recruitment. Changeling also still raiding the Empire, taking only 66 gold a turn, so not great. Currently has... okay, Manfred's horror, that's interesting. Yes, Marcus Wolfhart, he is currently taking a stroll through Bretonia on his way towards Cathay for some inexplicable reason. In fact, it looks like Bretonia is having a bit of an interesting time right now. Bellicle's here. That could actually end up being a bit of a problem later down the road. As for good old Festus, the Empire did actually win a battle against him. They have won their first major victory against him, but in the process, I believe they lost one of their armies and quite a few troops. Festus has since regrown a substantial part of his army. So really, the Empire's a bit conflicted at the moment. There's quite a few targets and quite a bit for them to do. Let's see how they handle it. Here we are on turn 20, and things are looking a tad bit better for the Empire, maybe? I mean, in the most part, it's not looking great. They're in a stalemate still with Festus over Middenheim. They managed to retake it from him, and then about 2 turns ago, he took it back. Because of course he did, and he's currently building a bloody barracks there. Off in the west, it's not great. There are 2 armies ready to try and take Gruntzint, but I don't think the AI is going to do that. Yeah, it looks like they're more interested in this guy who's raiding their territory. Over here, though, we've got the Changeling, who is doing Changeling things, continuing to raid. But I think he's now in... yes, he's now in Vampire Count territory. Because the vampires have pretty much all they've done is take Needling. For the rest of it, they're not doing much. Volkmar the Grim has finally arrived, and for some reason he's now going up to Bichon, because why not? But anyway, all the way over here, Volkmar has for whatever, Balthasar even, has for whatever inexplicable reason decided that he wants to come on over to Eschen. You really gotta love the AI's decision making sometimes. Speaking of AI decision making, Marcus Wolfhart has gone on one hell of a journey. I don't think he's even fought a single battle yet, you know. He started off heading towards here for some really weird reason. And now he's heading back to the old colony at Suddenburg. Because pirates of Sudhosa are about to take Suddenburg. There's nothing they can do, and to be honest, for a couple of 100 gold, it's probably in their best interest to just pull back, abandon the colony out there, and just focus on the situation at home, which is not looking great. Now, I said that things are decent for them at the moment, and the reason for that is they are actually building up armies. Admittedly, the armies aren't very good. You know, Esfand should have really quite a few more gunpowder units instead of a single unit of handgunners. And, you know, these armies, they're not great. Carl will probably get quite a bit of use out of this army, though. I feel like in the player's hands, this could be quite useful and could probably defeat a lot of these shit stacks that vampires tend to wield, especially if you're using Carl as a linchpin. So that's really the main good thing they have going for them right now. That they have built their armies up. And ideally, they're going to want to crush them here. But we'll wait for that to happen, so I'll skip the next couple of turns. By turn 30, things are starting to look a bit better for the Empire. Their forces have been able to retake Mittenheim and Krudenwald, taking out Festus from the equation for now. Down over onto their southwest flank, things are looking a bit better. Obviously, Karl has a much more elite army here, with quite a few great swords that are going to be very useful against those basic infantry that the vampires tend to bring. Still have these Empire Knights there, and some Outriders. Also, they've just got access to Gottschalk and Felix. Let's see which army, do we know? No, doesn't look like they've been assigned an army yet, but they will be very useful. Unfortunately, the Eastern Front is not looking very good. Last turn, the Empire lost a major battle against Vlad. It was a 2-on-1 battle. It had Boris Todbringer and Marcus Wolfhart with their full armies attack Vlad over Krugenheim, and they lost. They got absolutely devastated, and it looks like Vlad will probably take Wurtbad next turn with minimal casualties. From there, that does sort of open up the road towards Outdoor for him. But you never know, they might be able to fight him back. Balthasar Gelt, his long journey is still in progress. I still don't know the logic behind it. Down in the south, though, they did lose Suddenberg to Horatius Saltspike. Her army has come down, defeated them here. But really, the Empire's biggest problem is going to be Vlad. Ideally, they're going to want to put down Festus and put down Grungzint while they can. But really, it's just mobilising what few armies they have left, because they have really suffered a lot of casualties in these battles. They're probably going to have to go to war with, is this Scaling? Yeah, with Scaling to try and get them out of their territory at some point. But obviously, that's not a war they really want, because Scaling will just come down and they will hammer these weak ports. It's what the AI loves doing with them. So, we're on turn 36, and I don't really know what's happened. At the end of turn 35, Vlad had force marched his way into Mordheim, right? And Marcus Wolfhart was here with his army. There were a few more units in it. It was a bit better off. This guy had more units and was in Essen. And it looked like they were going to lose. It looked like they were going to attack Mordheim and get their ass handed to them. And in a way, they sort of have. Like, they've been forced back, but I think this is Vlad's original army. I'm looking through all of Sylvania to where he could have gone. I think Vlad's dead. Or at least wounded for a couple of turns. On turn 40, and things are really starting to look good for the Empire. They've really started to regain territory. Griffin Wood has changed hands again. They've obviously still got Eschen, Nagenhof, but they've also struck into the heart of Sylvania, taking Waldenhof and Eschen. So from here, really, it's not too far of a reach to say that they could probably take Castle von Drachenhof, Tempelhof, and then these two small provinces here. I can't remember if... I feel like they've probably taken Schutzhafen at some point. Vlad did return to the field, but it looks like he's been killed again. Yeah, I don't see him anywhere. But also, the Empire have quite a few armies. Balthasar Gelt still has a... You know what? I'd say that's a pretty decent army. Maybe not the best, but considering what he's up against, I think this will do quite well in auto-resolve. Boris Todbringer also has a proper army now, but still quite a bit of chaff at it. Got a couple of elect accounts about. Von Draken has a spam list that's really not making use of her best qualities with ranged units. Marcus Wolfhart's here as well. His army is battered. That's for sure. And Gelt, with not much left in his army. So I believe these two just attacked Vlad and just taken him down. If they can crush Vlad within the next 10 turns, their only actual like land border enemy left is Heinrich Kemmler. And the AI would probably try to send an army over to Musolin if they have a military access pass with Bretonia. But apart from that, like, they don't have very many close enemies. So they'll be able to really work on building up the economy, crushing Festus obviously being the last major threat in the homeland. So we'll see how it plays out in another 10 turns. Okay, in a pretty shocking turn, Musolin have managed to take Fort Bergras. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting this. Turns out they're not at war with the Gisharoks, so they just walked by and took the fort. Here we are on turn 50. Halfway really towards when the end time scenarios are going to start. As you can see, most of Sylvania has actually fallen to the Empire, but this has me really frustrated, the AI in this game. They could have killed Vlad off completely 6 turns ago. They've had multiple opportunities, and instead they're just sort of rallying around here, doing nothing. I'm not really too sure why. It's just frustrating, you know. They've killed all these armies, and he literally just had Castle Drakenhof and Needling left. Could have ended this campaign here, and then gone off to deal with the other threats, you know, to crush Festus, who has built his forces up again. You know, I mean, Fort Burgers is now under the control of Bretonia, so the Empire aren't really getting that back anytime soon. As for internal threats, they look pretty good. Everything else is more or less unified, I think. Okay, they're not at war with these guys yet, so it's pretty much just that. Let's have a look how they are on the diplomacy screen, though. So, currently, Strength rank 1. Strength rank 1 with 48 settlements. I'm not surprised, because when you have a look, though, they've got quite a few armies around, which, you know, I'd say most of these armies are mid-tier. I don't think they have any level 5 units as of yet. Work to do. Althoff is level 4. That's not too bad. Ooh, we should be seeing more wizards around. So many ideas. But yeah, they're raising lots of armies. They do have to deal with Wurzag every now and again coming up, taking territory and then retreating. As for the, we'll call them the colonies, this bit's fine, the little cafe bit, not much going on here. However, I feel like it's going to fall soon, because Kugath is here, and Kugath is definitely going to be pushing down here. Although, Yao Ming, if Yao Ming declares war on him, or vice versa, I don't know, I feel like Yao Ming is in a good position to take them out. I say that, and immediately regret it. Yao Ming is getting absolutely... Oh my god, I've been ignoring Cafe. Yeah, looks like Lokir Felhart is having a hell of a time. As for the Lustria colony, it's still here. Still the only piece they've got. It's just 880 gold per turn, isn't it? It's not that much at the end of the day, so... Everything is good, and we are going to skip forward over the next couple of turns. Well, ironically, it's almost as if the AI could hear what I was saying, because 10 turns later, and they've taken out Sylvania. They're actually rallying against Festus, and also against the dwarfs, who've decided to go to war with them, because of course they have. So, they finally managed to take down Castle Drakenhof. It was a bit of a big battle outside of it. That then, with Vlad obviously gone, they've taken Castle Drakenhof. They did lose Waldenhof and Eschen, but they've taken them back. And the final city was Needling. But that's done now. So, it's over. Last turn, turn 59, they've taken full control. A few other things, though. They have lost their colony in Cathay to Kugath Plaguebearer. Not just that, though. The western provinces have fallen to Lokir Felhart. Honestly, Lokir's becoming a bit of a powerhouse right now. He's got a lot of territory. Obviously, with all these rivers and stuff going through Cafe, his Black Arcs can give a lot of support, so it's quite useful. I'm assuming this is Clan Eshin over here, having quite a bit of territory. Over in the west, though, things aren't looking great for Bretonia, mainly because... Where is he? Is Heinrich Kemlar about? The last I read, Heinrich Kemlar got his hands on the Nemesis Crown. But it does look like he might have been defeated, so that will be gone. But obviously, with Fort Burgess gone... Oh, okay. That's interesting. Oh, Ikit. Oh, yeah, I'd completely missed this. It looks like Ikit Claw's having a bit of a fun time and has taken over most of southern... Well, all of southern Bretonia. He's doing quite well into Middle Bretonia and is just coming into the north now. I don't see Bretonia making it to turn 80. They'd have to do a real comeback. I mean, obviously, Leon Luanker is an absolute powerhouse when he's on Begris. But the Skaven have nukes, so I would place my bets on the nukes. Grom the Paunch, still hanging around, but by the looks of it, he only has one settlement, and he's picking a fight with the Wood Elves. He's definitely going to win that, definitely. But to be honest, at this point, I think the Empire have a really good chance. They've pretty much retaken most of their territory. They are losing a bit up here, but they're sending armies to deal with it. They had, obviously, lost Crudenwald, and Hergig was taken by Festus, and I think he was about to march on Middenstag. It's going to be really interesting to see how these next couple dozen turns play out before the end times begin. Will the Empire be able to actually put themselves in a position to survive it? Not even one turn later, and the Wild Hunt begins. Orion will now begin acting more aggressively to his neighbours. Perfect. Not really too much to talk about by turn 80. The Empire have crushed the Barrow Legion completely now, and they are completely off the map. Blackstone Post is officially belonging to the Empire. They have also gone to war with Clan Scryer, who declared war on them. Pushing further into Bretonia, Clan Scryer are getting pushed back. There was a bit of a large battle or two around here, I believe, which did badly damage the Empire's armies, and they were pushed back temporarily for, I think, 2 turns, and now they're just on the offensive. They just have 1, 2, 3, 4 armies dedicated to the conquering of the Bretonia territory from Clan Scryer. Clan Angrund as well are at war with Scryer, so they're probably going to get wiped out within the next 10 turns. We are really getting close now towards the period when... Oh, speaking of which, this is the first time seeing this. They are all, by the looks of it, quite a few Empire armies are going to try and crush Be'lakor while they can. But what I was saying is... it looks like, really, that for the next 20 turns, it's going to be plain sailing for the Empire. It's really just about getting ready for the end times and seeing if they can survive every single end time scenario at once, so we will wait and see. I gotta say, I love just how randomly the AI can go from being pretty passive and timid to just absolutely aggressive and a powerhouse. So, the war in Bretonia has gone very well. They've retaken most of the Clan Scryer territory. Luon Lee and Kerr did actually sort of just like bypass all this to retake Castle Carson, which means pretty much the War of the Skaven's done. I think Clan Angrund really can finish this off. Estalia's here as well, but let's face it, they're a bit useless. They're not going to be able to do much. But between Clan Angrund and Leon Leonker, I think the war with Clan Scryer is over in pretty much less than 10 turns. Oh, also, Grom's been more or less wiped off the map. As for the war for Albion, the forces did finally make it. Balthasar Gelt, I think, was initially travelling with them, but he's broken off to take Pack Ice Bay, because Kislev have taken the rest of the region, which was definitely a good win for Kislev. That means that Norska is pretty much completely subjugated. I mean, we have got the Ecstatic Legion, led by Sigvald, coming down, and... oh, does Sigvald have... yep, Harold Hammerstorm. So, 2 things have happened last turn. The first one is probably rather big. Karl Franz has got his hands on the Nemesis Crown. That is going to be insanely useful if he can keep the battles up. The other major thing is they've gone to war with the war host of the Apocalypse. So Archaon is up around here somewhere. Last I saw him, he was actually here, just outside Kislev. So I don't know if they've beaten him. Yeah, it would look like they've beaten him, pushed him back. Wow, Daniel has taken quite a bit of territory. Is he what's his diplomacy like? Oh, okay, he's a defensive ally. That makes sense. So, we're on turn 113, and it looks like it's finally happened. Or is about to happen anyway. We've got the Vermintide notification, which means we will be seeing tons of Skaven very soon. Or, in fact, already by the looks of it. Yeah, it looks like we've just got a few armies spawning over here. Let's go and check towards over here. I'm not sure. Has it actually begun yet? Might be next turn, because that's not really many Skaven armies, so we will have a look, but it's finally time. Oh, okay, so I think what's happened earlier might have just been a prelude to the Skaven, because we've just got the Vermintide notification at about, what, 10 turns later, so revealed great armies of Ratkin are invested in the Under-Empire. Okay, I feel like everything that's happened so far for the Skaven... Yes, everything that happened so far for the Skaven is a precursor. I thought Clan Eshin didn't really get anything. Okay. So, they've got a bunch of stacks over here. Deathmaster Snitch is back in force. We've got some up here. To be honest, Cafe is just turning it into the new Lustria Thunderbolt at this point. Like, there are so many different... Just Cafe's gone. The actual Cafe, like, group are gone. Race. All that's left are these other races battling over it. Let's have a look. There's a bunch of Clan Rictus over here who are definitely going to be battling over the Chaos Dwarf territory. Should I even look at Ikit? Okay. Yeah, he's got more armies. These, I'll be very surprised if these AI don't manage to smash through Fort Sol. Although, Fort Sol's a level 5 defense, and it does currently have a guy defending it. If he was to stay here and just hold down Fort Sol, I think he might be able to hold it back. But I don't know whether or not the AI is competent enough to do that. Let's skip the next couple of turns unless the final endgame scenario activates. Turn 131 and the greatest war has begun. Oh my god, let's have a quick look at the damage. I can already see on the mini-map that this is going to be interesting. I'm not going to focus on the Empire's situation just yet because I want to hold out until next turn, when we should be getting the Dwarfs and the Tomb Kings. So, I think I've left Revive Every Faction on for it, or it's auto-set on for them. Because, yeah, this is a lot of minor Orc factions that have just had multiple full stacks. Ooh, that's not good. Have they broken through? Oh my god, they've broken through Fort Sol. Yeah, we're not going to worry about that for now. We're just going to have a look briefly. I have a sneaking suspicion that Grigmore... Oh, Grigmore has gone to war with Kugath. Yeah, Kugath's done. I don't see... Oh, he's also at war with Lokir. Oh, that's it. Grigmore's gone to war with everyone, hasn't he? Yeah, he's literally gone to war with everyone. Here we go. The Black Pyramid has begun. So, the gaseous curses are released. And of course, a grudge too far. Okay. Let's have a look at this tragic situation. So, somehow, I'm assuming this Clan Scryer have taken control of Outdorf. I mean, the Central Empire is just the Central West Empire has just been absolutely devastated, and the South is not looking much better. We've got a bunch of different greenskin armies pushing up. I'm assuming they're also at war with Clan Scryer as the
Now possible.
Yeah, everyone's gone to war. I don't think the Empire's going to survive this. Obviously, I know the whole point was seeing could the Empire survive against literally every single endgame scenario. And I feel bad, you know. It's weird. I've spent quite a couple of hours on this campaign now, just spectating it, and seeing the Empire go from barely being able to put down Vlad, or even deal with Festus or any of these other minor threats, to this. It's a bit sad, you know, seeing this and knowing they're going to get crushed. I mean, they might be able to survive, but with Fort Sol gone, I'm not holding out much hope. So, Bretonia's getting oh my god, that's a lot. Bretonia's getting devastated. Oh, okay, at least the Wood Elves were able to retake their home. I'm probably just going to start skimming through the next couple of turns. I mean, Outdorf is dead, so I'll probably give it till turn 140, unless the Empires are literally on their last legs. So we'll see how they hold out over the next 8 turns. So here we are on turn 155, and I've got to say, I think the Empire are doing a lot better than I anticipated. Or it might just be that the End Times AI is insanely incompetent, because either or, you can never really tell with this game. So, major thing, obviously the Ghosts of Parox down here have become a regional power, but that's just because, you know, they control all of the Southern Wastes, and they are pushing into the Southern Desert. But by the looks of it, are they at war with Teclis? It's a bit hard to tell. No, they're not. They are defensive allies of him, okay. Khemri are still just sort of doing their thing. They're in an all-out war with the dwarfs, fighting back and forth. The primary dwarf faction, Karazar-Karak, are, I believe, back at peace with the Empire. They were at war for a bit, took one settlement. I think it's just because of obviously how the End Times thing begins. And because of that, they've taken the settlement and then made peace. Because obviously the two factions really like each other. When the End Times start, they ought to go to war, but diplomacy was still enabled because, I'll be honest, I just thought it made more sense. Over in the Kislev region, Chaos Dwarfs are pushing down. However, I do believe that the Hashut are starting to get their borders taken out by Grigmor and Wurzag. Is this Wurzag? No, it's one of the other ones. But anyway, the Orcs are really starting to push back. I do believe Azag has been more or less wiped off the face of the earth. Yeah, he has. Karak Kudrin lost obviously most of their territory. Looks like Karak have retaken some of it around the Sylvania region. I'm really surprised that Castle Drakenhof didn't fall. It was sacked, but the Orcs didn't occupy it. So now they're in this sort of like weird position when Karak Kudrin are here on their border. Karak Kudrin themselves are still at war with the Empire. Grigmor, obviously, absolute powerhouse. He is. It looks like he's going to win in the war against Kugath, but we knew that was coming for a while, haven't we? Clan Richter still sort of not really doing much. They've got a small bit down here. Black Fortress, Ruins End, Vorag, you know, Nagazazar. They've got all of these, but they're not really doing much. Queek, decent amount. And then the real threat at the moment has been Clan Scryer, but this is interesting. I haven't seen this yet. Broken Nose have taken some of Clan Scryer's territory. So the big problem, admittedly, of this mod, it does make it a bit like the mod that I've got that lets me see everything that's going on. It does make it a bit difficult to see Skaven, because they're still classed as ruins. So unless in fact, I can just do this. Let's face it, Skaven are important to know about. Where is Skaven Blight? Here we go. I'm just going to make a quick alliance. I should have done this earlier, to be honest. Oh, there we go. Let's have a look at what they've got. Oh, that's surprising. I actually thought these two settlements were going to be, Kemperbad and Nuln, were going to be under Clan Scryer control, but I guess not. On turn 165, and it seems quite likely that the Empire is actually going to survive, so I've sort of made the decision, I'm just going to go till turn 200, and then see how things are holding up. Obviously, this is my first time doing something like this, so there's been a lot of little snags and stuff that I'll just talk about in the end when I sort of recap what's been going on. I don't know what's going on. After a single game crash, I have managed to reload and get the event to spawn properly. Let's have let's have a look at what's going on around here, because, yeah. That is a lot of Vampire Count armies. Is Vlad back? I'm certain they'll have... Vlad should be in here somewhere. Doesn't seem to be, unless he's in Castle Drakenhof. No. Who knows? Either way, the faction has returned. This is actually sort of coincidental timing, because Bone Rattlers, the last settlement they had would have been around here. And I think this has wiped them out. But the Empire, you know, coincidentally, they do have a few armies over here, because they were coming up to fight Karak Kadrin. Karak Kadrin also have quite a bit here. I do feel like they're going to be able to crush the Sylvanians relatively easily. Has my alliance been broken? Yes, it has. Let's just quickly fix that. Oh. There we go. Yeah, some decent armies that are going to be probably quite effective against the Vampire Counts. And of course, Karl Franz himself is here with a pretty bad army, but it has 2 land ships, so you know. All the way back over here, though, Bretonia aren't going to have a fun time. They'd only just really getting over the damage Heinrich Kemmler did. But Elsa von Draken's here. I'm sure she'll be able to help out. And one of the forts is still there. I'm going to assume that's still under Clan Scryer control, even though, for the most part, Clan Scryer has been wiped out off the face of the map. I'll keep cutting ahead. I think I'm still planning to end this on turn 200. I think 12 turns will be enough to see what's going on. So, let's skip ahead. So, here we are on turn 200, and the Empire is still very much standing. Now, of course, I could keep this running for another 100 turns, another 200, another 500 turns even. But at this point, I don't think the Empire is going to fall. I think it's in a really good position. It basically has all of the same territory, minus some small regions in the Southern Empire that it should have, really. Also, just as a little side note, I left diplomacy on for the dwarfs end time because I felt it was a bit thematic. But if I hadn't turned it off, I'm not entirely sure if the Empire could have survived, because the dwarfs have, of course, become the main regional powerhouse here. Well, not even regional, the main worldwide powerhouse. I'm pretty sure they're the strongest faction now, but we'll go over all that in a few minutes. Although, there is still a chance the Empire could have survived, because the AI seems to really struggle with, like, choosing which threats are important to it. If you watch them, they'll march an army one way, stop it and march it the other way. They struggle with commitment, really, more than anything. So, just at the end here, I do sort of want to go over a few of the things that I've learnt about how the AI is working in this newest version post Thrones of Decay, because there's a lot of really interesting stuff from not just like army composition from the Empire, but like, look at this, the Black Arcs, all the stuff like this. But first off, let's sort of look at the tactical situation here. So, we open up diplomacy, and if we go to strength rank, obviously, yeah, 46 settlement. Karazakarak is by far the biggest regional powerhouse. They have a bunch of armies, they control a bunch of territory, pretty much unstoppable. Next, Ironbrow's expedition, quite surprising, but I think that's just because they've got a lot of armies, because they've not really been in many wars, because if you have a look at who they are actually at war at, I mean, they're at war with Oxalotl, to be fair, so there's something to keep in mind, but for the most part, they're in a pretty strong position. Khemri, who, as I seem to remember in the second game, pretty much always took over this region of the map. Didn't really do much. Ancestral Throng, unsurprisingly, have basically just fully cornered this bit of the map and are pushing Morathi out of Nagarond. And Morathi herself is very strong. She's taken over most of Ulthuan, but I feel like if I was to leave this running for another 50 turns, she'd get fully wiped out, because we've got pretty much all the main order factions, like you can see here. Yongbao is bringing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 armies over to crush her. Lord Master Mundi is sending an army. Bretonia are sending a few. There's still a bit of Empire holdouts with Tyrion. The Empire are sending 4 armies on this side, and I think they've got a few more coming over. Pretty much everyone's coming. The only thing that's really making her extremely powerful at the moment, the insane amount of Black Arcs that the Dark Elves recruit now. Like, I get it. it seems to be every chance they get in, they're recruiting a Black Ark every time the cooldown goes off. And it makes sense, but bloody hell, it's making Morathi a powerhouse. As for vampire counts, obviously about turn 180 something-ish, when I last was recording, the vampire count end time scenario spawned, and that just got crushed across the map pretty much instantly. If I have a look at the races, I don't think there's many. Yeah, Caravan of the Blue Rose. Hermann Gorst is the only one to survive, and that's just because he starts down here in this little corner, and Kugath is a bit too preoccupied with his war against Grigmore. And once again, in another case of the AI not being able to really like commit to any large-scale wars, Grigmore has he really could have crushed Kugath like dozens of turns ago, but he just hasn't. One of the weird things that the AI have sort of do, especially when you initiate these end time scenarios, you can sort of see it down here with Hermann Gorst. They just sort of stockpile all the armies in one settlement. I'm not too sure exactly what's causing that, but whatever it is, it's a semi-annoying. Yeah, obviously I said about my frustration in the Empire not being able to just commit to crushing Sylvania while they could, and instead sending armies over to Sylvania and then pulling them out of Sylvania to go and march like over here and fight greenskins and stuff. It was really weird, and it's really annoying, and we saw actually a bit of that as well when they gave up this region down here, sending Gel all the way across the map, marching him all the way, literally, across this region here, just to halfway stop marching him back, but luckily Kugath took it, and then he returned to the Empire. Some really weird decisions. I think probably one of the biggest surprises I saw was just how effective Lokir Felhart has been. Like, Cathay is completely fallen. If it wasn't for the Skaven end times, I'm fully convinced that Lokir would be in control of all this region and currently be in a war with Grigmore and Kugath. So really, the only thing that saved them is Clan Eshin. I think this is also, by the way, another case of the Black Ark seemingly being really effective, but let's face it, if this was to carry on, eventually Clan Eshin would crush Lokir. Another just interesting little tidbit, Chaos has done nothing. I really do feel like the Chaos... no. Also, just as a little, like, tidbit, the Chaos AI have pretty much done nothing all campaign, and when I say Chaos AI... no. Interestingly though, the Chaos AI has pretty much done nothing, and when I say Chaos AI, I mean all the factions. Warriors of Chaos, all the 4 different demon races, Daniel, Beastman, all of those pretty much done nothing. Like, Sigvold has come down here a bit, and he's retaken part of Norska. Norska themselves got absolutely just hammered by Kislev, and obviously Be'lakor got taken out by Reichland. I do think that the KSAI really do need a boost. I like the idea of how it was in the second game, that Archaon would spawn with all these armies and march south. I think at the very least, there needs to be... I feel like they are going to add it eventually, a proper end time scenario where Chaos, once again, just start marching down. But something needs to be done. They feel just really weak and not like the heralds of the end time anymore. They just sort of feel... just a minor annoyance more than anything. Like, they've achieved nothing all campaign, and we're 200 turns in. Chaos Dwarfs were doing really well, to be fair. The Disciples of Hashut did really, really good, but obviously this end time scenario has really pushed them back and crushed a lot of their territory. So yeah, there's been a lot of interesting settlement trading and stuff going on. Like, obviously earlier Grom took over all of Athaloran just to get pushed back out. We've seen the same sort of thing with Azag taking over Sylvania. It's just sort of cool to see how the AI functions like that. Here's another weird case. Like, I'd understand if they were all currently recruiting, because obviously Altdorf is going to be level 4. They never upgraded it to level 5. Interesting. But I'm not too sure. Maybe someone will be able to work out what the AI's obsession with stockpiling armies in random parts of the map is. Overall, though, this has been a really cool scenario, and it shows that the Empire have had some buffs that I feel like they really needed, because obviously it's a bit of a meme at this point that Karl Franz is listed as a recommended starter campaign, but he has an extremely difficult one with so many threats like Festus, Vlad, who's just a powerhouse, so many different like small factions around him that are just difficult to get rid of. But it shows that the Empire have had a power boost, and, you know, they've had some really cool units. The land ships are really good. Tanks have been reworked to actually be functional now. I mean, they sort of were before, but they're definitely in a much cooler place now. And everyone's got a unique mechanic, which is good, every Legendary Lord. And that's something I'm hoping we see for a lot of older factions, especially, like, you know, the High Elves and Norsca and stuff. So, anyway, this entire thing has basically just been a big experiment by me, because I was interested in it. I wanted to see if the Empire could do it. I thought it would be cool to do, and I've done it. I've got a few ideas. If this does semi-well, I might do another one. I think it would be cool to see if a united Ulth 1 led by Tyrion, sort of like what we've done here, having all of the Empire factions confederated, having all of the High Elf factions confederated on Ulth 1, to see if they could survive a total war against every single faction for like 100 turns, and all end time scenario spawning like really early. But anyway, that's possibly a video for another day, depending on how well this does. So leave comments on what you thought of the video and how you think the AI are, and until next time.